Beautiful job, Maki. Okay. You want to hold it? Why not? Where's Rosie? Okay. Yeah. Me.
What's up? Let's make sure. Okay. We have the candle. The candle, as we sent everyone, and we wrote in the Havdallah, we have the wine. I'm going to pick up in a moment. We have the candle. Come a little more to the picture. We have the candle, the light, lift a little higher. And then we have the psamim. You got a little bag, the smell, the middle of the Havdalah. And we're taking the page. And now we will begin.
No?
Ine ya Yeshua siyavtach lo yefchad ki yaziv zimras ya Adonai vayili Yeshua Shiavafte Mayim Pesasoin Mimayne Yeshua Ladayna Yeshua Lamcha Ybiyechasecha Sela Adonai Tzvay Simanu Mizgavanu Le'Yakasela Adonai Tzvay Ashrei Yadai B'Tei Yachva Adonai Yoshia Melech Yaneinu V'Yai Mekareinu. La Yehudim Ha'avoisa V'Yira V'Simcha V'Sasayin V'Yikar Kevein Tielanu Kais Shoy Zezav Shem Adonai Yekra Sabrim Aranan Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam B'Yidei Pri Hagafel.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam B'Yidei Minei B'Samim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam B'Yidei Mi'edei Oish. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Ha'mavdil ben kodesh le'chayil ben yelochayzev Yisrael Amim ben yemashvi l'sheshes mi'amaseh. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'mavdil ben kodesh le'chayil.
Amen.
At least half the cup. Pour a little bit of the wine over the candle, the plate. Then we take a little bit of the
Eyeball.
the wine that we drip in our eyes and our pockets, the back of our neck, for health, wealth, and faith in Mashiach's coming very, very soon. I'm going to make now a bracha achroina on the grape juice, the wine that we drank, and then we will go to our story. It's so nice to see everyone here, and I hope you'll join us, the future ones, and at least make sure you make Havdallah yourself, one of the most beautiful parts of the Shabbos experience as we let go of the Shabbos. Alle gefel pre gefel du so der tgemde tebergel was shit sich hat la sein la kham op jou is met worden geen dan alleen zo maar gebay slime reg wat simmers ga ik met de gewoon de gebal gelag nee slime dat je mee wil meno alleen de zeg als geen bouw dat de shop tara ki ato adi nooit met die wat op de go allore zelf pre gefel met allore zelf pre gefel and that is the custom and we're supposed to share a story of inspiration, story connected to a tzaddik as we go, right? First, as we go into the weekday. So I want to share a story that the name of the story is The Honest Thief. That's like a bit of an oxymoron, the honest thief. But you'll hear the story, you'll understand. And it's always inspiring to hear how things work themselves out. So this story takes place in a small Polish town where there lived a poor Jew. Not just a poor Jew, a person. In Yiddish, we called him a shlemiel. Actually, everyone in the town called him a shlemiel. Whatever he touched, he always messed up. So he couldn't get himself a job. If he worked in a fruit store, he'd turn over the apple cart. If he worked in a dairy, he would spill the milk. Wherever he went, he was a shlemiel and always caused problems. And it was very hard for him to get a job. A fine person, honest person, but very difficult for him to find a job. And his family was very, very poor. One day, this shlemiel, this Jew, heard that there's a saintly Rebbe, a great Rebbe is coming to the town. And he got himself an appointment to go see him, and he begged him, Rebbe, please, you have to bless me and my family. We're poor, we have nothing. I have a hard time feeding my wife and children. Rebbe, I need a blessing. Rebbe, please. And the Rebbe heard his request, closed his eyes, thought a little bit, and he says, you know, I see in your future big wealth. So he said, Rebbe, really? What should I do? Rebbe said, I can't tell you what to do. I just see big wealth in your future. So on one hand, he was a little bit uplifted that somehow there's a future where his family won't starve forever, but he didn't know how to go about it, didn't know what to do. Meanwhile, his kids are starving at home. He goes to shul that night for Mincha Ma'ariv. Everyone goes home, but he has nothing to go home to. Starving children, what is he going to tell his children? Then when he saw it happen, he said, one day they'll be wealthy, but we don't know what to do. So he waited till everyone went home. And after everyone left shul, he decided to leave. And the shul was at the outskirts of the town. And from shul to go to the house, he had to walk through the street which had all the shops. And as he's walking, the streets are quiet. And he noticed that one of the shops, the door was not locked. The padlock was not put on the door for the shop. So somehow something got into his head. He says, let me go see what happened. Maybe he made a mistake. Maybe I'll go and correct him. So he goes, opens up the door, and he goes into the shop, and everything is laying there fine. He says, okay, I guess tomorrow he'll figure it out. But right before he left, he noticed that by the cash register, whatever they used in those days, there was a plate full of money, a box full of money. So all of a sudden, he's thinking about his children who are starving at home. And what do I need, he thinks, to buy a loaf of bread for my kids? 18 groschen. So something in him says, let me just take 18 groschen. I'll give it back to him. I'll bring it back to the person, but tomorrow my kids need to eat. And a little battle went on within him, but he said he can't go home without it. He takes 18 groschen, pennies from the till, and he leaves. And as he leaves, he remembers whose store it was, Yankel, the hardware store. And he goes, tomorrow morning he goes to shul, on the way home he buys a loaf of bread, he comes home. It's a holiday in his house. Wow, father brought home bread, it's fresh bread. They were so excited, no one even asked him how he got it. Anyways, the next day he goes back to shul to daven again. What am I going to bring home to my kids tonight? He didn't have anything to work. No one's giving him a job. He's still poor. And he walks home after everyone else. And again, he notices another store that the door is open, unlocked. Goes into the store. There's no food there to take. But he notices a box full of money. 18 groschen. He takes 18 groschen from Avram's store. And he, when he goes home, he marks in a notebook. Tonight they took 18 groschen from Avram's store. Yes, they took it from Yankel's store. Avram comes to shul the next night from Mincha Ma'ariv. He says, "You can't believe what happened. A guy came into my store, and all he stole, I had a lot of money there, 18 groschen pennies." They said, "What are you, crazy? Who goes into the store? If there's so much money sitting there, who wouldn't take everything?" He says, "I promise you, it's an unusual thief. He took 18 groschen." And then Yankel says, "You know, it's funny, the night before, the same thing happened to me. The next day, the same thing happens. Someone else left his door open, and he goes and takes 18 groschen. That guy comes to shul the following day. You know, it's funny, 18 groschen." So they didn't know what to do. This is a thief who's going into their stores. But on the other hand, all he's taking is 18 groschen, the pennies. So they went to the sheriff. They said, "There's a thief going around. Something funny about the thief. He only takes a certain amount, but there's a thief going around." So the sheriff says, "I'll take care of it." The sheriff gets dressed up like a beggar himself, because no one was able to catch him before. At night, people used to go around. He always outsmarted everyone. He had some kind of a way. He knew how to go very undetected. So he decides he's going to dress up like a beggar. So when this Jew, the Shlemiel, sees a beggar hanging around, doesn't pay attention to him. He goes into another store that the lock is open. He takes 18 groschen. And then the beggar catches him. And the beggar says, "I saw what you did. I saw you stole." So now he got very scared. He said, No, I'm not a thief. I'm not a thief. All I took was 18 groschen. And everybody who I take from, I write down in my notebook, I took from, and one day I'll pay them back. I'm not a thief. He says, "Listen, I'm only going to let you go and not take you to the sheriff." This was the sheriff, but dressed up like a beggar. I heard that the sheriff just inherited a lot of money. He has a treasure box in his room, in his house, in his bedroom. If you steal the treasure box in his house and bring it here, then I won't tell on you. If not, I'm going to tell on you and you're going to be in big trouble. So he said, "But I'm not a thief, I told you. I don't steal. I just take my kids are starving and need go for bread." He says, "I'm telling you, you have a choice." He had no choice. He goes to the sheriff's house and he's listening in the window, about to go in. All of a sudden he hears a conversation that two of the workers in the sheriff's home are talking to each other. And one guy says to the other, "You know, the sheriff just inherited a lot of money. I'd like to get the money. Why should he get the money? So I have an idea. One of them was the chef in the house. I'm going to prepare his meal and I'm going to put some poison in his food. You're the waiter who serves him. And we'll divide the money in half. We'll give it to the sheriff. He'll die. No one knows about his inheritance. We'll take the money and we'll be rich people." So when the Shlemiel, heard this, when the Shlemiel heard this, he says, "Ooh, I'm not getting involved in this." He says, he goes back to the beggar and he says, "You know, I can't go into the sheriff's house." I said, "Why?" He says, "I heard two people talking in the sheriff's house. Seems like the chef and the waiter, that they're going to poison the sheriff. These are dangerous people. I can't go into the house when these people are there. The sheriff says, don't worry, I'll tell the sheriff. And he lets the shlemiel go home with his 18 groschen. The sheriff gets out of his clothes. He goes home the next day. His waiter, his chef, they prepare breakfast. And when the chef and the waiter come to serve him the breakfast, he says, I'd love you to taste the breakfast first today. I'd love to see, you eat your own food. So all of a sudden, their face became white. They said, no. He said, you better taste it or else I'm going to punish you. So they had no choice. They ate from the food and they died from their own poison. And then the sheriff, the next day, he goes back out at night at the same time when Shlomo used to go steal 18 groschen from another vendor from another store. And he catches him again. And Shlomo gets very, very nervous. So he says, I'm not going to report on you. He says, I want to tell you who I am. I am the sheriff. I was dressed up like a beggar last night to catch you. But when I saw how honest you were, they only stole 18 groschen. And even when I sent you to my house, you didn't know it was my house. And you came back and you told me the conversation. Not only I see you're honest, but you saved my life. If not for you, I would be dead. So I want to thank you. And I'm going to split my inheritance with you in half. Such a person I never met before, who steals but yet is so honest, who saves my life, such a good person. You deserve to get half my wealth. And this is what he realized when the Rebbe said, you're going to be wealthy one day, but I can't tell you how. The Rebbe saw, prophecy sees, but he couldn't tell him how. But everyone has their ways. Not that it's set in our ways to steal to get our blessing, but everyone has their ways. The bracha is sitting there, but here is a person who, even though he was in dire need, he remained honest to the core. He had to steal, but he remained honest to the core, just enough to feed his family a little bit of bread. And may Hashem help, especially as we're going now into a lockdown. And many people will not be able to go to work. Many people will be. But still, it works hard on us. It creates a lot more anxiety, a lot more fear, a lot more feeling depressed. So we have to remember that Hashem's ways work very funny. Hashem's ways works in ways that we don't understand. We just have to remain honest and faithful and do our thing every day. Say the Shema, pray every day, learn a little bit of Torah, make a bracha before you eat, do the things you're supposed to do, behave honestly, be in a positive note and a happy note. Hashem will help that not only will we come out of this, but we'll come out like that person, will come out wealthier, not just physically, we'll come out happier, we'll come out stronger, we'll come out more unified together as one. And God willing, we'll come from this to Mashiach very quickly in our days. So if you see in the back of the Havdallah, we put some songs. One of them is a song we usually sing every Saturday night. The first one, Eliyahu Hanavi, because it says that Saturday night is connected to Mashiach. It's connected to Mashiach, and Eliyahu Hanavi will be the one who will tell us Mashiach is coming. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Agiladi, B'meira Yaveleinu, Mashiach ben David, B'meira v'yameinu, Yaveleinu. Mashiach ben David,
Mashiach ben
David. Beautiful. Shabbat Tov, everyone. I got the rock, only the best, and good things. Join us on our many things this week on Zoom, classes, the journey, and may we all be together physically very soon. But until then, we'll be in spirit together.
Amen.
Amen.
Be well.
Shavuot
All
Tov,
the best.
Shavua Tov.
Shavuot Tov.
Shavua Tov.
Yeah,
Shavua Tov,
Shavua Tov.
Chodesh Tov, everybody
Shavua
should
Tov.
be well.
Chodesh Tov,
Right.
yes. Be
Stay
well.
well.
Tu B'Shvat.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
So nice to have you on, Maurice and Carmen and Kathy, Ellie, Lillian and Claude. Everyone's beautiful. Shavuot Tov.
Thank you.
Thank you.